Hello, I'm back with another film review. I actually haven't been back for quite some time. You might think to yourself, where have you been, Layla? Last time you did a film review was ages ago. The reason why it's taken me so long to do another film review is, to be honest, I haven't actually seen a film released in the cinema that's tickled my fancy recently. Not many films have tickled my fancy, so I haven't really seen the need to go out and watch any of these newly released films because a lot of them haven't really appealed to me that much. They're either horror films or films that haven't really done well. They're films that have flopped. They've flopped. And so obviously I don't want to give my time, spend money to go and see a film that I know isn't going to do anything for me. So I'd rather go see a film that I know I'm going to enjoy. Now this film, Dumb Money, is a film that I saw the trailer and I did a bit of research on it, and it turns out that it's based on a true story, which is why I went to go and see it, and I'm really happy that I did. So I'm going to do a short film review on this, just to let you know what I thought of the film if you decide to go and see it. And don't worry, I'm not going to give the ending away if you do decide to go see it later. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with the plot of the story. What's the story about? And in describing the plot, unfortunately, I do have to touch on a few terms, a few vocabulary words or terminology about business that I don't know much about, but this is what I understood from the film. So this film is set during the pandemic. It's not very old. It's not a very, very old film, set during the pandemic. And basically it's about the store, the business, the shop that's called GameStop. Some of you might remember, because this made it to the news. It was a big, big thing during the pandemic. So if anybody doesn't know, GameStop basically was the name of a business. It was a proper shop. It had quite a few branches all over the place, and it was doing really well before the pandemic. But when coronavirus happened and the pandemic hit, like with lots of other businesses, this business also started decreasing. It started not doing so well, to the point where the share price for GameStop was $3, which is really, really low. Now, Wall Street started predicting, or lots of investors started predicting, that GameStop is going to go bust. It would go bankrupt, and that would be the end of it. And that's what people were betting on, all these big, big investors. Now, these huge investors, the millionaires and billionaires, they don't have time to go searching the market to see which businesses they need to invest their money in or where they should put their money. That's where you've got firms or organizations like hedge funds. A hedge fund is usually a group of people who research the market to see where you, the millionaire, the billionaire, should put your money, where you should invest your money, and which place would give you the most profit with the minimal risk. That's the job of the hedge fund, okay? They tell you where to put your money, where to invest your money with maximum amount of profit and minimal risk. That's the job of a hedge fund. And one of these hedge funds decided to let these big, big investors know that they need to bet against GameStop, because GameStop any day now is going to go bankrupt. So they bet the value would decrease, and they bet on this fact using the money from the top investors. The story then turns to somebody called Keith Gill. He is somebody who sells life insurance, very typical, normal, average American. He's got a wife and a young child living in Massachusetts. But he decided to bet against Wall Street, right? Now, Wall Street obviously is a monster. You don't mess about with Wall Street, and a lot of people listen to Wall Street like it's the Bible. They would never bet against Wall Street. And Wall Street was the one that predicted that GameStop was going to go bust. But this guy, Keith Gill, goes on YouTube to his followers and followers on Reddit, and he says, no, Wall Street has got it wrong. GameStop is not going to go bankrupt. And he himself, Keith, puts $53,000 of his own money into this betting against Wall Street, just to show that no, Wall Street has got it wrong. We, the people, are not going to listen to Wall Street this time. So basically that's the story. So the story is basically GameStop against Wall Street, right? Now, many people looking at this, watching this, reading all of this, watching the videos, thought that this guy was crazy. Who bets against Wall Street? Wall Street are people, it's made up of people who've studied business. They have obviously lots of money, which means they know what they're talking about. But this guy, Keith Gill, he has this thought, this mission, that has anybody thought Wall Street might be mistaken? Wall Street is wrong. So this is where he tells his YouTube followers and all the people on Reddit, he tells these people, all his followers, he says, maybe Wall Street has got it wrong. Let's try and teach Wall Street a lesson. Let's teach Wall Street that even though those guys on Wall Street are wealthy, millionaires, billionaires, the power is not in their hands. The power is in the hands of the people. So this is what I absolutely loved about this film. So then there's a gradual rise in share prices. We said that Keith put his own money into this bet. He doesn't sell. Other people see him constantly on YouTube. They see that this bet is going in Keith's favor and Wall Street is actually losing the bet day by day. So other people start investing as well and buying shares, and other people don't sell their shares either. They're trying to stick it to Wall Street. They're trying to, so the normal little people are trying to teach Wall Street a lesson that just because you are very powerful, just because you have all this money, doesn't mean that you always get it right, and it doesn't mean that you can control the normal people, right? This is what I loved about it. These hedge funds, obviously, so they see this stock price is rising, and they start sweating. So they want more money from their investors, and it's showing that they've got it wrong. They bet more money, they start losing more of the investors' money, and that's when it starts going really, really bad. Investors, Wall Street basically start panicking because the people have spoken. Yeah, and we are seeing that there are more people betting for GameStop rather than more people betting for Wall Street. If I've lost you up to now, if you're not sure, oh my God, what is Layla talking about? I'm going to give you a little analogy. I'm going to try and give you a very, very simple example of what I'm trying to say. Let's say, for example, you have a really, really nice briefcase. You've got a lovely briefcase, and I've decided to borrow your briefcase from you. Your briefcase, let's say, is worth £100, okay? I take your briefcase and I go and sell your briefcase for £100, right? So your briefcase is worth £100 and I've sold it. Now I have £100 in my hand. Let's say in my mind, I'm thinking that briefcase is going to go out of fashion. So today the briefcase is worth £100. Tomorrow that briefcase is going to go down in value. It's going to be worth £60, not £100. So that briefcase that I sold today and I got £100 for it, I want to go back and buy that briefcase again. This time I'm thinking I only have to buy it for £60. So I've made a profit of £40. However, if I've made a mistake And that briefcase that I sold for £100 has actually become fashionable. It's become trendy. So today it's worth £100. Tomorrow it's going to be worth £200. I go back to buy that briefcase, and this time I have lost 100% of my money. Right? If I want to buy that briefcase again, I have to buy it for £200 this time. And this is exactly what was happening in this story, GameStop versus Wall Street. So share prices started from $3 per share. Now they have gone up to $325 per share. That's an increase of 1,700%. Okay, you can imagine how these investors are panicking. The hedge funds, obviously, the people in between whose job it is to try and make the investors' money grow, how they're sweating and obviously losing sleep and all that kind of thing. So then hedge funds, these groups of people, they start getting really anxious. They start getting very concerned, and they play dirty, which is what we see all over the world. If you get a group of people who are wealthy, powerful, have status, if they don't get their way, they start playing dirty, right? And that's what these hedge funds do again, and that's where they start showing their true colors. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to go with the story. I'm not going to give any more away of it. And that's basically the plot. If you want to know what happens at the end, you need to go and watch the film. I'm going to go to dislikes and likes. I'm going to start with dislikes because there's just one thing that I didn't really like about this film. And that was that the film questioned the level of common sense or the level of intellect, the level of intelligence of the average American individual. Now, of course, I'm not calling every single American a business person. I'm not saying every single American is a fantastic mathematician. No, but this film, in my view, was trying to show that some Americans are really thick, that some Americans don't have a lot of intelligence, that they're a little bit, excuse me, pardon me, stupid. That's what this film, I think, was trying to show with some Americans. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. I think they've added this element of it just to make the film a little bit more interesting. They didn't give enough credit to the intellect and level of intelligence of the typical average American. So that's one thing I didn't like very much about this film. Going to the likes, oh my goodness, I liked so much about this film. I love the humor. It's a very humorous film, lots and lots of little hints of sarcasm, humor, very, very funny. I found it not comedy, but there are elements of humor there. I loved the cast. I thought that the actors were really, really good. You've got Seth Rogen. You've got lots of really, really good top actors and fantastic acting. Loved the music. The music was very spot on, very in sync with the genre of the film. Absolutely loved the houses. Oh my God. The houses, obviously these are houses of millionaires and billionaires. Beautiful, gorgeous houses that you would see in this film. Really like that. It's a very fast-paced film, and they have these big lots and lots of clips from the real YouTube videos of what was happening during that time. So the director is very quick at trying to bring you up to speed with what's actually happening using real footage, real videos from YouTube and other sources. It was really good. So it's a film that gets you rooting for, gets you praying for, rooting for the little guy, the average person, yeah? So it makes you feel and sympathize with the average American, the normal little guy, not the big, wealthy, corporate, blood-sucking, wealthy people at the top of Wall Street. It gets you rooting for, gets you sympathizing with the average little guy. Basically, I thought that was great. Other things that I liked about it, there's a hint at the extent of corruption in the stock market. So it actually shows the corruption. It shows how dirty business or the stock market and people behind Wall Street can really be, how they are so comfortable to manipulate the system, break the rules, how easy it is for them to do whatever they want as long as they get their own way. So I really like that about it as well. It included clips of one of my favorite politicians. Now, people who know me, they know I absolutely despise, absolutely hate politicians. In my dictionary, a politician is a liar. However, there's one politician, American, that I absolutely love. She's known as AOC. AOC, that's her acronym, Alexandria Cortez. She's a Democrat, which in terms of British politics, she would be Labour. If we want to say how she would fit in with the British politics, she's Labour, or in America, she's a Democrat. She advocates for the little guy. She fights for the little guy meaning the average normal individual. So she's not on the side of the wealthy, the powerful. No, she's on the side and she fights for the little guy. And that's what I love about her. She did so much charity work during COVID. She was there helping people who were struggling to pay for their bills during coronavirus in America. She was there front and center, constantly fighting for healthcare. She still is fighting for housing, fighting for anything just to make this whole horrible experience of COVID a little bit easier for the Americans who were struggling with the finance of it all. So I absolutely love her. I think she's fantastic. She was in it. She wasn't playing in it as an actress. We see a clip of her in the film as well, which is real. That's actually what happened. And at the end of the film, it shows you what actually happened to the main characters. Obviously, in this film, we've got actors who are portraying real characters of real characters for the real story. And at the end, we get to see not the actors anymore, but the real individuals. We get to see the real investors. We get to see the real Keith Gill. We get to see the real people who actually were in this story for real. So what message did I get from this film? What did I learn from this film in my point of view? Usually the case is that the bigger you are, the more wealth you have, or the more ka-ching you have, the more dole or dosh you have, basically the wealthier you are, the more influence and power you have. Unfortunately, that is usually what is the case. Okay. Now, this film is trying to show that yes, each of us individually, alone, we are easily defeated. However, if we join forces, if we stick to our guns, if we all are of the same belief, if we're all united, if we hold firm, all of us, which is all those little individuals in the film who were betting against Wall Street and they were fighting for GameStop, all of them came together. 8 million people online started betting for GameStop against Wall Street. If we all come together, then we can overthrow any system, even billion investors worth billions of pounds. So that's what I came away with in this story. And this obviously was a story about finance. It was a story about Wall Street and business and that kind of thing. But I guess you can apply the same understanding to many other aspects of life as well. Currently, the day we're in now, the times that we're in right now, there are countries, there are societies where people are trying to battle and fight against their government, fight against the system. And Unfortunately, a lot of the time you see that the government wins because the government is the one that has the more power, the more influence, the more ka-ching, the more everything, and the little people have no other choice but to go along with it. However, this film is just trying to show that if those little people, I mean, alone, obviously, they can't do anything, but if the little people unite, if they come together, if they hold firm, if they stick to their guns, if they have a single goal, all of them together, then they can overthrow the system. They can overthrow the government. They can reach their goal on condition that everybody has the same goal. Everybody is willing to put up with the difficulties, with the sacrifices in order to get that goal that they want to. This is the message that I came away with watching that film. And I think it is spot on. I think it's a fantastic message. I think that it's something that we can definitely learn from and apply to our own life. Okay, so thank you for sticking with me up to now. I hope that you enjoyed this review. I hope it wasn't too complex and too complicated and too confusing. If you have seen this film, I'd love to hear from you. Do drop a comment for me below. Let me know what you thought of this film. I know that people have had mixed reviews. Some people have absolutely loved it, like myself. I will definitely be going and seeing it again because I thought there was so much information that I need to go see it again, understand a little bit more, especially about the business aspect of it. There are some people who told me they just walked out of the screening half an hour into the film. They just couldn't tolerate any more of the film. They just walked out. So there's mixed reviews. Do let me know what you think, and let me know what you think of this review as well. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again very soon with my next film review.